All right, Algebra 1, Lesson 21, solving one-step equations by multiplying or dividing. Okay, to find a solution of an equation, you're going to hear this over and over and over and over again, and hopefully you've already heard this. Okay, hopefully you're already familiar with this. If we're going to solve a one-step equation, right, that involves multiplication or division, we have to use inverse operations. Inverse means the opposite operation of what is happening to the x value. Does that make sense? Okay, so the inverse operations are those opposite operations. So what's the opposite of addition? What's the opposite of subtraction? Okay, what's the opposite of multiplication? What's the opposite of division? Okay, so we're looking at the multiplication and division properties of equality today. Okay, so 3 times 2, equals 3 times 2, that whole thing. Division properties, essentially the same thing. Both sides of an equation can be multiplied by the same number and the statement will be true. We have to keep both sides of the expression equivalent, okay? Jeremy, can you keep the gum in the mouth? That'd be great, okay? Same thing with division. If I multiply by the same number on both sides, I'm going to get an equivalent expression. If I don't, I wind up with an unbalanced equation, and that won't work. So if I've not talked about this already, whenever I ask you, hey, what step are we going to do here? Let's say we have something like 4x equals 12. Right? What would I do to solve for x there? Very good. I heard somebody say it right. I heard a bunch of people say half the statement, right? And I understand what you mean, but it's an incorrect statement. Tiffany, repeat what you said. Divide by 4 on both sides. On both sides is an important part to that because, right, here my x's cancel out. I get x equals 3. But if I do what some of you said, which is 4x equals 12, and I divide by 4, you haven't told me where to divide it, right? And so we could just assume, all right, well, I'll just divide there, and I get x equals 12, right? Well, x equals 12 is not the answer, is it? And if I checked it, 4 times 12 does not equal 12, right? Or if I assume the other to be true, right, that I'm to divide by 4 over here, then I get 4x equals 3, and I still haven't solved the equation, right? So do you understand why it's important to verbally say, I'm dividing by this number on both sides, okay? I'm going to multiply by this number on both sides, because by multiplying on both sides or dividing on both sides, I've kept my expression equivalent to what they were to begin with. I haven't changed the value of either side. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully, you can wobble your head up and down, give me some sort of assurance that you're hearing me, that the auditory component of my vocal cords is operational today. Okay, so what we're going to look at, if I can find it, it's right here. Okay? Answer as many of these as we can. If I want to solve for z, what do I have to do? Multiply by 6 on both sides, because 6 is dividing the z. So I'm multiplying by 6 on both sides. Okay, what happens to those 6's? They cancel out. Okay, so I get z equals, what is 12 times 6? 72. Did I hear a negative? 72. You probably might have saw a negative 72, but our answer is A right there. Hopefully we can fly through these. These will be really simple, right? Okay. Let's keep it moving along. All right. What about number 2? Christian, what would you do there? What? I heard a whole bunch of stuff all at once. Multiply by what? On? Okay. Multiply by 10 on both sides. What happens to the 10s on the left? They cancel. I'm left with Q equals, what's 26 times 10? 260, right? We shouldn't even have to use a calculator for that, right? Because whenever I multiply something by 10, I just add 0 to the end, correct? All right. Okay. And just to be clear, is there anything on your Chromebooks that you need to see right now? Can we see everything from the board that we need to see? Okay, so I should be able to get all eyes up here, right? I don't think anybody, I'm guessing that if we're looking at that, hopefully the only thing that we're using our Chromebook for at this moment is either to look at this or to, if we're still copying down some notes, but hopefully nobody's already started on their homework because I'm still teaching. All right, number 3. Let's try McEwen. Tell me what to do here. Divide by 8 on, no. We're looking at 3. 3. Multiply by -9. Okay, well, that can change things. What happens to the -9s on the left? Cancel each other out. I'm left with A equals, what's -8 times -9? 72. Okay, get that right there because our negatives cancel each other out. All right, Fraser, number 4. Divide by 8 on both sides. What happens to the 8s on the left? Cancel out. Okay, what's 160 divided by 8? 20. Very good. We get C for an answer. Okay, we feel pretty good about the multiplication division. Do we need to do number 5? No, we know we're going to do what? Divide by -4 on both sides. Very good. All right, let's take a look at number 6, just because I think in any case you want to look at the word problems, right? The word problems are ones that give us trouble on tests, right? The time between a flash of lightning and the sound of its thunder can be used to estimate the distance from a lightning strike. The distance from the strike is the number of seconds, so distance equals time between seeing the flash and hearing the thunder divided by 5. So let's write an equation. Distance equals what? Time divided by 5. Perfect. That's a good equation to start with because now I can plug some things in. Correct? All right. Suppose you are 4 miles from a lightning strike. Well, where should the 4 go? Where the D is. So 4 miles. All right. Write and solve an equation to find how many seconds there would be between the flash and the thunder. So right now all we know is 4 equals T divided by 5. But it says we want to write an equation to solve for what? T. I want to solve for T, which means I need to isolate T. I need to get T by itself. So what am I going to do that? Multiply by 5 on both sides. Okay? So what happens to the 5s on the right? Cancel. What's 5 times 4? 20 equals T. Or how would I want to write that? T equals 20. And because we want to get in the habit of labeling, what unit is my time in? Seconds. Okay, T equals 20 seconds. So we should be able to do 2 things. One, we should be able to see 20 seconds there. And we already had this equation written up originally, didn't we? Okay, we saw that right there. Okay? Are we good with that? If we saw that question on a test, could we write it up like what we're seeing it on the board? Nothing frustrates me more than when we have a question on a test that I have personally worked out with you in class and people's brains melt. Okay? I've worked it out with you. All right? Let's try one that's maybe a little bit tougher. Okay, look at number 7. Give me a second here. Hello? No. Let's see. Yep. I was like, I don't even think I have a forever at all. So, yep. No, that's okay. Okay. So you guys have had some time to think about this. What am I going to do? Divide by 1/5, all right, because there's multiplication happening there. So I got 7, and I'm doing it on, all right, so you're saying I want to take 7 divided by 1/5, all right, equals x. Here's a problem. Can I divide by a fraction? No, but what can I do? I multiply by, all right, so I should be taking 7 and multiplying it by 5. 7 times 5 equals x. What's 7 times 5? 35 equals x. So we should get 35 for an answer. Be careful with that, okay? Always remember, I cannot divide by that fraction. I do have to multiply by the reciprocal, okay? Questions there? None? Okay, these look like our last two. What would I do with 8? Anthony? Do what? 8. By? Okay, so what's negative 6 divided by 3? Negative 6 divided by 3. What? Negative 2. Y equals negative 2. Okay, Jordan, last question here. Number 9. What do you want to do? Divide by negative 18. Divide by 3/4. Okay? Can you divide by 3/4? Can you divide negative 18 by 3/4? What can you do? I can't divide by negative 18. That's not going to solve anything. And hopefully we've been paying attention. We just covered a question just almost exactly like this up in question number 7, right? At least I thought we did. How did we solve number 7? All right, Jordan, you're going to move up here at this table next to Tiffany. Okay, I want to make sure I have your attention. Class, can we divide by a fraction? No. What do I have to do? Multiply by the reciprocal. What is the reciprocal of 3/4? 4/3. Okay, so it's negative 18 over 1 times 4/3. What's 1 times 3, just so I got my denominator? 3. What's negative 18 times 4? Negative what? Negative 72. Okay, does negative 72 divided by 3 reduce at all? Yeah, what's it reduce to? Negative 24. X equals negative 24. Okay? I get the gist that I don't have your undivided attention, that we're not following along and learning from the questions that have been covered. I'll move you around. Okay? Okay. All right, that should give you plenty of time to go ahead and get started. Let's do that now.